The morning sun filtered through the stained glass windows of St. Catherine's Convent, casting colorful patterns across the worn stone floor. Sister Maria Teresa walked slowly through the corridor, her steps echoing in the quiet hallway. At 73, her body had begun to betray her in small ways, a stiffness in her knees when she knelt for prayer, fingers that sometimes refused to bend as she wanted them to. But this morning, like most mornings for the past 50 years, she was headed to her special place of joy. The small music room tucked away in the east wing of the convent was nothing fancy. Its walls needed fresh paint and the wooden floor creaked with every step. But there, sitting by the window, was an old upright piano that had been donated to the convent 30 years ago. To Sister Maria, it was more precious than gold. She closed the door behind her and sat on the bench, her habit rustling as she settled. For a moment, she just rested her hands on the keys without pressing them, feeling the cool ivory beneath her fingertips. Then with a deep breath, she began to play. The notes of Chopin's Nocturne filled the small room. Sister Maria closed her eyes, letting her fingers find their way across the keyboard from memory. She had been playing this piece since she was 12 years old, back in her family's home in a tiny village outside of Naples. The music brought back memories of her father teaching her the piano on Sunday afternoons, his calloused hands from working in the fields somehow becoming gentle when they touched the keys. "God gave you a gift," he would say in Italian, tapping her gently on the head. "To waste it would be a sin." Sister Maria smiled at the memory as her fingers danced through a particularly difficult passage. Her father had been heartbroken when she announced her intention to become a nun at 17. He had dreamed of her studying at the music academy in Rome. But the calling she felt was stronger than her love for music, or so she had thought at the time. Now, after decades of service to God, she understood that her music was not separate from her faith but an essential part of it. As she played the final notes, letting them hang in the air before fading away, she heard a small sound at the door. Looking up, she saw Sister Lucia, one of the younger nuns at 65, watching with a smile. "I could listen to you play all day," Sister Lucia said, entering the room. "The way you play, it's like hearing prayers without words." Sister Maria shook her head modestly. "I just play for myself these days. To keep my old hands working?" "Nonsense," Sister Lucia replied, sitting on a wooden chair near the piano. "You play because it's in your blood. Some of us pray with words, some with service, and some, like you, with music." Sister Maria was about to respond when they both heard footsteps approaching, firm, purposeful steps that they recognized immediately. The door opened without a knock, and Mother Superior Agnes stood in the doorway, her tall figure blocking the light from the hallway. Mother Agnes had only been appointed as the head of their convent 6 months ago, after their beloved previous Mother Superior had passed away. At 58, she was younger than many of the nuns she now led, and she ran the convent with an efficiency that sometimes felt cold. Her narrow face rarely showed emotion, and her gray eyes seemed to miss nothing. "Sister Lucia," Mother Agnes said, "aren't you supposed to be helping in the kitchen this morning?" Sister Lucia stood quickly. "Yes, Mother. I was just— The morning prayer breakfast for the homeless starts in 1 hour. I suggest you attend to your duties." Mother Agnes's voice wasn't unkind, but it left no room for argument. After Sister Lucia hurried away, Mother Agnes turned her attention to Sister Maria. She glanced at the piano with a slight frown. "I've been meaning to speak with you about this. Sister Maria, I notice you spend quite a lot of time here." Sister Maria folded her hands in her lap. "Just an hour in the mornings, Mother. Before my teaching duties." "An hour every day is a significant amount of time," Mother Agnes said, walking further into the room. "Time that could be spent in prayer or service." "Music has always been a form of prayer for me," Sister Maria replied gently. Mother Agnes touched the piano's wooden frame, running a finger along its edge. "When I was appointed to lead this convent, I was concerned about certain indulgences that had been permitted. Our lives are meant to be dedicated to God's work, Sister Maria, not personal hobbies." The word hobbies stung. Sister Maria felt her cheeks grow warm, but she kept her voice calm. "I've been playing the piano since before I took my vows, Mother. Our previous Mother Superior understood that." "Times change, Sister," Mother Agnes interrupted. "The world grows more troubled. The needs of our community grow greater. We must focus our energies on what truly matters." Sister Maria looked down at her hands, Hands that had washed floors, prepared meals, tended to the sick, taught children, and yes, played beautiful music. All of it, to her mind, had been in service to God. "I understand your concern, Mother," she said quietly. "But if I may, the music room is also used by the children from our school. They have lessons here twice a week. The children's music education will continue," Mother Agnes said. "I simply question whether it's appropriate for you to be spending so much time here for your own enjoyment." Sister Maria felt a tightness in her chest that had nothing to do with her age. "I'll consider what you've said, Mother." Mother Agnes nodded, seeming satisfied. "That's all I ask, Sister. Now I believe your first class begins in 20 minutes. After Mother Agnes left, Sister Maria remained seated at the piano. She placed her fingers on the keys again but didn't press them. The joy she had felt earlier had dimmed. She knew what Mother Agnes was really saying, that at her age, she should be focusing on more spiritual matters, preparing her soul for what was to come, not indulging in worldly pleasures. But was music truly worldly? Didn't it lift the spirit closer to heaven? Hadn't she taught generations of children to find God's voice in the harmony of notes? With a sigh, Sister Maria closed the piano lid and stood up. She had duties to attend to, children waiting for their lessons. Mother Agnes was the authority now, and Sister Maria had taken a vow of obedience 50 years ago. The next morning, Sister Maria woke before dawn as she always did. She dressed in the dark, put on her simple habit, and said her morning prayers. Then, as the first light of day began to appear, she made her way to the music room. She was surprised to find the door locked. Thinking it might be a mistake, she checked to see if she had the wrong key on her small ring of keys, but none of them fit the new lock that had been installed. Taped to the door was a neatly typed notice. "This room is closed for necessary renovations and evaluation of use. All music classes will be temporarily held in room 7 until further notice. Mother Superior." Sister Maria stood there, her hand still on the doorknob. Through the small window in the door, she could see the piano, waiting silently in the dim room. For the first time in decades, she would not start her day with music. That evening, after dinner, Sister Maria approached Mother Agnes in her office. The room was austere, a simple desk, a wooden crucifix on the wall, and bookshelves filled with religious texts. "Excuse me, Mother," Sister Maria said from the doorway. "May I speak with you for a moment?" Mother Agnes looked up from her papers. "Of course, Sister. Please sit down." Sister Maria sat in the straight-backed chair across from the desk. "I noticed the music room was locked this morning." "Yes," Mother Agnes replied, folding her hands on top of her desk. "After our conversation yesterday, I spent time in prayer and reflection. I believe the space can be better utilized. We're considering converting part of it into additional storage for the food pantry. And the piano. The piano will remain for the children's lessons, of course. But I feel it's best if we limit its use to educational purposes only." Sister Maria felt a deep sadness wash over her, but she kept her face composed. "I see. Sister Maria, you've given 50 years of faithful service to God in this community," Mother Agnes said, her voice softening slightly. "At this stage of your journey, shouldn't your focus be on deeper spiritual matters? Music is a distraction." Sister Maria wanted to argue that music had never been a distraction from God but a path to Him. She wanted to explain how playing the piano had helped her through moments of doubt, had given her strength during difficult times, but she recognized the firmness in Mother Agnes's expression. "As you wish, Mother," she said, rising slowly from her chair. "Good night." As Sister Maria walked back to her small room, she passed Sister Lucia in the hallway. The younger nun looked at her with sympathy in her eyes. Word traveled quickly in the convent. "She's just trying to do what she thinks is right," Sister Lucia whispered. Sister Maria nodded. "I know." In her room, Sister Maria sat on the edge of her narrow bed and looked at her hands. The arthritis had been worse lately, making her fingers stiff and painful in the mornings. Playing the piano had kept them limber, had been a form of therapy as much as a joy. Without it, how quickly would her hands become useless? More than that, how quickly would part of her soul begin to wither? She closed her eyes and tried to pray, but instead of words, music filled her mind. Bach's Jesu, Joy of Man's Desiring, one of the first pieces her father had taught her. Inside her head, she could hear every note, could feel her fingers moving across imaginary keys. If she could no longer play the real piano, perhaps this would have to be enough, these melodies in her mind. this music that no one could lock away. 6 months passed, and the seasons changed. Autumn leaves gave way to winter snow, and eventually spring flowers bloomed in the convent garden. Through it all, Sister Maria continued her daily routines, teaching the young children who came to their small school, helping with meals in the kitchen, and attending every prayer service. But something had changed in her. The other nuns noticed it first. The light that had always shone in Sister Maria's eyes had dimmed. She still smiled when spoken to, still performed her duties with care, but there was a heaviness to her movements, a quietness that hadn't been there before. "She's like a bird that's forgotten how to sing," Sister Lucia whispered to Sister Gabriella one evening as they watched Sister Maria slowly making her way across the courtyard. Sister Gabriella, at 32, was the youngest nun at St. Catherine's. With round cheeks that flushed easily and bright eyes that missed nothing, she had been Sister Maria's student years ago before joining the convent herself. She had a deep love for the older nun who had shown her nothing but kindness since she was a child. "It's that piano," Sister Gabriella replied. Taking away her music was like taking away part of her soul. The music room remained locked most days. The children were allowed their twice-weekly lessons, now taught by a volunteer from the nearby village instead of Sister Maria. The piano tuner had been scheduled to come, then canceled. Budget constraints, Mother Agnes had explained during a community meeting. One rainy afternoon, Sister Gabriella was sorting through mail in the convent's small office when an envelope caught her eye. It was addressed to St. Catherine's Convent Music Department, most likely junk mail, but she opened it anyway. Inside was a colorful brochure announcing the International Golden Years Music Competition, being held in the nearby city the following month. "Celebrating musical talent that has stood the test of time," the headline read. "Open to amateur and professional musicians age 65 and above." Sister Gabriella read through the details with growing excitement. The competition welcomed participants from all backgrounds. There would be several categories, including classical piano. The winners would receive not just recognition, but an opportunity to perform in a grand concert at the city's famous music hall. Her mind immediately went to Sister Maria. This was exactly what the older nun needed, a chance to play again, to share her gift with others. But would Mother Agnes ever permit it? Sister Gabriella slipped the brochure into her pocket. Some rules, she thought, were meant to be bent just a little. That evening after dinner, Sister Gabriella knocked softly on Sister Maria's door. "Come in," called the gentle voice from inside. Sister Maria's room was simple, like all their rooms. A narrow bed, a small desk, a wooden chair, and a tiny window. On the wall hung a wooden crucifix and a single framed photograph of Sister Maria's parents from long ago. Sister Maria sat at her desk reading by the light of a small lamp. "Sister Gabriella," she said with a smile, "what brings you here this evening?" Sister Gabriella closed the door quietly behind her and pulled out the brochure. "I found something I thought you might want to see." Sister Maria put on her reading glasses and looked at the colorful paper. As she read, her expression changed, surprise, then interest, and then a quick shake of her head. "This is very nice," she said, handing the brochure back. "But it's not for me." "Why not?" Sister Gabriella sat on the edge of the bed. "You're the best pianist I've ever heard." Sister Maria smiled at the compliment. "You haven't heard many pianists, dear. Besides, Mother Agnes has made her feelings clear about my playing. But this is different. This is a chance to share your gift with others. Isn't that what we're taught? Not to hide our light under a bushel?" Sister Maria looked out the small window. Rain streaked the glass, blurring the view of the garden below. "My hands aren't what they used to be," she said quietly. "It's been 6 months since I really played. And even before that..." She held out her hands, showing the slight bend to her fingers, the swollen knuckles of arthritis. "Your hands still have music in them," Sister Gabriella insisted. "I've heard you tapping rhythms on your knees during prayer when you think no one is watching." A flush spread across Sister Maria's cheeks. "Old habits." "Sister Maria," Sister Gabriella leaned forward. "Do you remember when I was 10 years old and you first taught me to play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star?" "Of course. You were a quick learner." "And do you remember what you told me when I made a mistake and wanted to quit?" Sister Maria smiled at the memory. "I said that God doesn't expect perfection, only that we use the gifts He gave us." Exactly. Sister Gabriella placed the brochure back on the desk. I'll leave this with you. Just think about it. After Sister Gabriella left, Sister Maria picked up the brochure again. The competition was in 3 weeks. Even if she wanted to enter, which she didn't, she told herself firmly, she would need to practice. And how could she do that with no access to a piano? She was about to put the brochure away when she noticed a small sticky note attached to the back. In Sister Gabriella's neat handwriting, it read, "The side door to the chapel is unlocked at 5 a.m. The piano in the corner still works." Sister Maria felt her heart beat faster. She hadn't even thought about the old upright piano in the chapel. It was rarely used now, as they had a small electronic keyboard for accompanying hymns. The piano was out of tune and missing a few keys, but it was still a piano. Could she? Should she? The next morning, Sister Maria woke at 4:30 a.m. earlier than usual. She dressed quickly and made her way through the dark, silent hallways of the convent. Sure enough, the side door to the chapel was unlocked. She slipped inside, careful not to let the heavy door make any noise. The chapel was peaceful in the pre-dawn darkness, with only the eternal flame near the altar providing a soft glow. In the far corner stood the old piano, covered with a cloth. Sister Maria removed the cover carefully, folding it and placing it on a nearby chair. The piano was in worse shape than she remembered. The wood was scratched and worn, and when she opened the lid, she could see dust on the strings inside. But when she pressed a key, softly so as not to make too much noise, it produced a sound. Out of tune, yes, but a sound nonetheless. Sister Maria sat on the bench and placed her hands on the keys. For a moment, she just felt them beneath her fingers, cool and familiar. Then she began to play very softly, a simple Bach prelude she had memorized as a girl. Her fingers were stiff and clumsy at first, missing notes, striking wrong keys. But gradually, as she continued to play, they remembered their old patterns. The music was rough, imperfect, but it was music. And it filled something in Sister Maria that had been empty for too long. Every morning for the next week, she rose before dawn and made her way to the chapel. Each day, her playing improved a little. Her hands still ached, especially when the weather was damp. But the pain seemed less important now that she was making music again. One morning, as she finished playing and was about to cover the piano again, she heard a soft sound behind her. Turning quickly, she saw Sister Gabriella standing in the doorway. "That was beautiful," the younger nun said, coming to sit beside her on the piano bench. "Have you thought any more about the competition?" Sister Maria shook her head. "I'm grateful for these moments to play again, but a competition? At my age, with these hands? No, it's not possible." Sister Gabriella looked disappointed but didn't press further. Instead, she pulled something from her pocket. A small digital recorder. "I thought you might say that," she said. "So I took the liberty of recording you yesterday. I hope you don't mind." Before Sister Maria could respond, Sister Gabriella pressed a button, and the sound of piano music filled the air. Sister Maria playing Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major. Yes, there were mistakes, hesitations, but there was also something else. A depth of feeling that transcended the technical imperfections. "This is who you are," Sister Gabriella said softly when the recording ended. "This gift is part of you." Sister Maria felt tears in her eyes. "Even if I wanted to enter the competition, and I'm not saying I do, Mother Agnes would never approve." Sister Gabriella smiled mischievously. "Let me worry about the application. You just keep practicing." 2 weeks passed. Sister Maria continued her early morning sessions at the old piano, her playing growing stronger each day. She told herself she was just doing it for her own spiritual well-being, not for any competition. But she found herself working on a specific piece, Schubert's Impromptu in G-flat major, refining it, shaping it, bringing out the emotion in the music. Then one morning, Sister Gabriella came to her after breakfast, her face flushed with excitement. "It came," she whispered, pulling Sister Maria into an empty classroom. She handed her an envelope. Sister Maria opened it with trembling fingers and read the letter inside. "Dear Sister Maria Teresa, we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted as a participant in the International Golden Years Music Competition. Your submitted recording of Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major demonstrated remarkable emotional depth and musical sensitivity. We look forward to your performance on May 15th at 2 p.m. at the City Concert Hall. Sincerely, the Competition Committee." Sister Maria stared at the letter, unable to speak. Sister Gabriella had actually sent in the recording, and they had accepted her. "I can't do this," she finally said, trying to hand the letter back. "Mother Agnes would never allow it." "Then maybe it's time to ask her," Sister Gabriella replied. "The worst she can say is no. But what if she says yes?" Later that day, with the letter clutched in her hand and a prayer in her heart, Sister Maria knocked on Mother Agnes's office door. The moment of truth had arrived. Sister Maria's hand trembled slightly as she waited outside Mother Agnes's office. The acceptance letter felt heavy in her pocket, like a small stone weighing her down. Through the thick wooden door, she could hear Mother Agnes speaking on the phone, her voice firm and businesslike. Sister Maria used these moments to gather her thoughts and say a quick prayer for courage. When the phone conversation ended, Sister Maria knocked gently on the door. "Come in," called Mother Agnes. The office was as neat and austere as always. Mother Agnes sat behind her desk, a stack of papers arranged perfectly in front of her. The afternoon sunlight slanted through the window, illuminating the dust particles floating in the air. "Sister Maria," Mother Agnes said, looking up. "What can I do for you?" Sister Maria approached the desk slowly, her hands clasped in front of her to hide their shaking. "Mother, I've come to ask your permission for something." Mother Agnes gestured to the chair across from her desk. "Please sit down. You look pale." Sister Maria sat, feeling suddenly all of her 73 years. She took a deep breath and pulled out the letter. "I've been invited to participate in a music competition in the city. For senior musicians." She placed the letter on the desk. Mother Agnes picked it up, her expression unreadable as she scanned the contents. The silence stretched between them, broken only by the ticking of the old clock on the wall. "I see," Mother Agnes finally said, placing the letter back on the desk. "And how did this come about?" "You haven't had access to the piano for months." Sister Maria hesitated, not wanting to implicate Sister Gabriella. "I found another way to practice. The old piano in the chapel, very early in the mornings before anyone else was awake." "I see," Mother Agnes said again, her tone cooler now. "So you've been deliberately going against my wishes." Sister Maria looked down at her hands, at the swollen knuckles and blue veins that mapped a life of hard work and devotion. "Not deliberately against your wishes, Mother, but following what I believe is also God's wish for me. I've prayed on this deeply. And you believe God wants you to disobey your superior and participate in a worldly competition?" There was an edge to Mother Agnes's voice that made Sister Maria wince. But something inside her, some ember that had been quietly glowing these past weeks as she played in the early morning darkness, flared up. "I believe," Sister Maria said carefully, "that God doesn't give us gifts to hide away. My music has always been my way of praising Him, of sharing His beauty with others." Mother Agnes stood up and walked to the window, her back to Sister Maria. For a long moment she gazed out at the convent gardens. "Sister Maria, you've been with this convent for 50 years. You've lived under the guidance of 3 Mother Superiors before me. Perhaps that's why you find it difficult to accept my authority now." "I respect your authority, Mother," Sister Maria said quietly. "That's why I'm here asking permission, not simply going ahead with it." Mother Agnes turned around. "The world outside these walls is not what it once was, sister. It's filled with distractions, with noise and chaos. Our life here is meant to be a refuge from that, a place of prayer and contemplation, not a place for performances." The way she said the word made it sound almost dirty, as if performing music was somehow shameful. Sister Maria felt a flicker of anger but pushed it down. "With all due respect, Mother, I disagree. Our life here isn't meant to be an escape from the world, but a different way of being in it, of serving it, of showing God's love through our actions. And you think playing the piano in a competition is showing God's love?" Mother Agnes's voice was skeptical. Sister Maria thought about it. How could she explain what music meant to her? How it connected her to something larger than herself, something divine. "When I play," she said slowly, "I feel closer to God than at almost any other time. It's like a conversation between us, and when others hear it, they can join in that conversation too. Maybe they don't call it God. Maybe they just feel something beautiful or true. But isn't that what we're here for? To help others find those moments of grace." Mother Agnes returned to her desk and sat down heavily. She picked up the letter again, studying it. "The competition is in 2 weeks. Yes, Mother. And if I say no? If I forbid you to go?" The question hung in the air between them. Sister Maria had never directly disobeyed an order from a superior in her 50 years at the convent. Her vow of obedience was sacred to her, but so was her music. "I would accept your decision," Sister Maria said after a long pause. "With sadness, but I would accept it." Mother Agnes nodded, seeming satisfied with this answer. "I need time to consider this, sister. I will pray on it and give you my answer tomorrow." "Thank you, Mother." Sister Maria stood up, feeling both relief and tension. At least it wasn't an immediate no. She had a chance, however small. That night, Sister Maria couldn't sleep. She lay in her narrow bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about Mother Agnes's question. What if she said no? Could Sister Maria truly accept that? Would she spend the rest of her days wondering what might have been? Before dawn, she slipped out of bed and made her way to the chapel as had become her habit. The old piano waited for her like a faithful friend. Sister Maria sat on the bench and began to play, softly at first, then with growing confidence. Schubert's Impromptu flowed from her fingers, each note a prayer, each phrase a piece of her heart. She was so lost in the music that she didn't notice the chapel door opening or the figure standing in the shadows listening. It wasn't until she finished playing that she sensed she wasn't alone. Mother Agnes stepped into the light. Her face was unreadable as she approached the piano. "So this is where you've been coming," she said. "I wondered why the chapel lights were on so early each morning." Sister Maria felt her heart sink. "I'm sorry if I disturbed anyone, Mother." "No one was disturbed," Mother Agnes said. She stood by the piano, running her hand lightly over its worn surface. "I didn't realize this old thing could still make such sounds." There was something different about Mother Agnes this morning, a softness around her eyes that Sister Maria hadn't seen before. Without asking permission, Mother Agnes sat beside Sister Maria on the piano bench. The wood creaked under their combined weight. "My father was a piano teacher," Mother Agnes said unexpectedly. "Did you know that?" Sister Maria shook her head, surprised by this personal revelation. "He wanted me to be a concert pianist. He pushed me very hard. Hours of practice every day, competitions every month. By the time I was 15, I hated the piano. It had become a prison for me." Mother Agnes stared at the keys, not touching them. "When I joined the convent at 20, my father didn't speak to me for 3 years. He couldn't understand why I would waste my talent, as he put it." Sister Maria didn't know what to say. In all these months, Mother Agnes had never shared anything personal like this. "I sometimes wonder," Mother Agnes continued, "if I've been unfair to you because of my own history. If I saw your love for the piano and it reminded me of what I ran away from." "Our paths to God take different routes," Sister Maria said gently. Mother Agnes nodded. "Indeed." She stood up abruptly. "Play something else for me." Sister Maria was taken aback by the request but quickly recovered. She thought for a moment, then began to play Bach's Jesu, Joy of Man's Desiring, a piece that had always brought her comfort during difficult times. As she played, she sensed Mother Agnes watching her intently, studying her face, her hands, the way her whole body seemed to become part of the music. When the piece ended, Mother Agnes remained silent for a long time. "You may go to the competition," she finally said. Sister Maria felt a wave of emotion wash over her. Relief, joy, gratitude all mixed together. "Thank you, Mother." "But," Mother Agnes held up a finger, "you will not go alone. Sister Gabriella will accompany you, and you will wear your full habit. If you are representing St. Catherine's Convent, you will do so properly." "Of course, Mother. Thank you." "Don't thank me yet," Mother Agnes said, a hint of her usual sternness returning. "I expect you to be back the same day. No unnecessary time spent in the city." "I understand." Mother Agnes turned to leave, then stopped at the door. "Sister Maria?" "Yes, Mother?" "Play well." With that, she was gone, leaving Sister Maria sitting at the piano with tears of gratitude in her eyes. The next 2 weeks flew by in a blur of preparation. Sister Maria practiced every morning in the chapel, but now with Mother Agnes's permission. Word spread quickly throughout the small convent community, and soon other nuns were slipping into the chapel to listen to her play. Sister Lucia brought her a special herbal tea that she claimed would ease the arthritis in Sister Maria's hands. Sister Gabriella found sheet music that had been stored away in boxes for years. Even the elderly convent gardener, Mr. Rossi, contributed to the effort. He carefully fixed the wobbly piano bench and oiled the pedals so they wouldn't squeak during quiet passages. My wife used to play, he explained as he worked. Not like you, sister, but she loved it. She's been gone 10 years now. She would have enjoyed hearing you. The day before the competition, Sister Maria felt a wave of doubt wash over her. What was she doing? A 73-year-old nun entering a music competition? Her hands weren't what they once were. Her playing was imperfect. Perhaps this whole thing was a mistake, an act of pride rather than devotion. She shared these fears with Sister Gabriella as they sat in the convent garden that evening. Of course you're nervous, Sister Gabriella said. Everyone gets nervous before performing. But Sister Maria, I've heard you play. Your music touches something in people. It's not about perfect technique. It's about what comes through the music. And if I fail, if I embarrass myself in the convent? Sister Gabriella took Sister Maria's weathered hands in her own. You know what I think? I think God doesn't care if you miss a few notes. He cares that you're brave enough to share your gift. Sister Maria squeezed the younger nun's hands gratefully. When did you get so wise? Sister Gabriella smiled. I had a good teacher. As the sun set over the convent walls, casting long shadows, across the garden, Sister Maria felt a sense of peace settle over her. Tomorrow would bring what it would bring. All she could do was play from her heart and trust that would be enough. The morning of the competition arrived with a sky so blue it looked painted. Sister Maria woke before her alarm, her heart already beating a little faster than usual. She dressed carefully in her best habit, the one usually reserved for Easter Sunday and Christmas, and said her morning prayers with special attention. When she went down to breakfast, she was surprised to find the dining hall unusually full. Normally, many of the nuns would have already finished eating by this time, but today they were all still there, waiting for her. We wanted to wish you luck, Sister Lucia explained, pushing a plate of toast toward her. Though you probably won't be able to eat much. She was right. Sister Maria's stomach felt tight with nerves, but she managed a few bites of toast and a small cup of tea. The other nuns surrounded her with encouragement and good wishes. You'll play beautifully, one elderly sister assured her. We'll be praying for you all day, promised another. Even the kitchen staff came out to wish her well. Sister Maria felt overwhelmed by their support, especially after so many months of feeling that her music was unwelcome. Just as breakfast was ending, Mother Agnes appeared in the doorway. The room fell quiet as she approached Sister Maria. Your transportation is ready, she said formally. Then, to everyone's surprise, she added, I've decided to accompany you and Sister Gabriella to the competition. Sister Maria couldn't hide her shock. You're coming too? Unless you object, Mother Agnes replied with an uncharacteristic touch of hesitation. No, not at all, Sister Maria said quickly. I'm honored. Outside, Mr. Rossi was waiting with his son's car, polished for the occasion. The three nuns settled into the back seat, Sister Maria in the middle, clutching a small bag containing her sheet music, though she knew her piece by heart. The drive to the city took just over an hour. Sister Maria spent most of it looking out the window, watching the landscape change from rural countryside to crowded suburbs and finally the busy city center. She rarely left the convent these days, and the noise and bustle of the city felt overwhelming. Are you all right? Sister Gabriella asked, noticing her tense expression. Just taking it all in, Sister Maria replied. It's been a while since I've been to the city. The concert hall was a grand old building with stone columns and wide steps leading up to the entrance. As they approached, Sister Maria saw other elderly people carrying instrument cases, violins, flutes, even a small cello. Some were accompanied by family members who helped them up the steps. Others moved with surprising agility despite their age. Inside, the lobby was crowded with competitors and their supporters. Sister Maria, Sister Gabriella, and Mother Agnes drew curious looks in their full habits. A young woman with a clipboard approached them. Are you here for the competition? She asked, her eyes moving between the three nuns as if unsure which one might be the performer. Yes, Sister Maria said. I'm Sister Maria Teresa. I'm registered for the piano category. The young woman checked her list. Yes, Sister Maria Teresa from St. Catherine's Convent. We're so pleased you could join us. The piano category will begin in the main hall in 30 minutes. You're welcome to use one of our practice rooms to warm up if you'd like. Sister. Gabriella thanked her, and they were shown to a small room with an upright piano. The moment they were alone, Sister Maria felt a wave of doubt crash over her. "I don't think I can do this," she whispered, staring at the piano. "Of course you can," Sister Gabriella said firmly. "You've been practicing for weeks, but not on a proper piano, and not in front of strangers." Sister Maria's hands were trembling now. What was I thinking? I'm too old for this. Too out of practice. To her surprise, it was Mother Agnes who stepped forward. "Sister Maria," she said, her voice unusually gentle, "do you remember what you told me in my office about feeling closer to God when you play?" Sister Maria nodded. "Then play for him today. Not for the judges, not for the audience, just for God." Mother Agnes straightened Sister Maria's collar with brisk, efficient movements. "Now, use these few minutes to warm up your hands. Sister Gabriella and I will wait outside." Left alone, Sister Maria sat at the piano and placed her hands on the keys. This piano was much better than the old one in the chapel. The keys responded easily to her touch, and the tone was rich and warm. She played a few simple scales, then parts of her competition piece. Not the most difficult sections, but the ones that moved her most deeply. Gradually, the fear began to recede, replaced by a sense of calm purpose. Mother Agnes was right. She wasn't here to impress anyone or win prizes. She was here to share something beautiful, something that had sustained her through 50 years of convent life. When it was time, a different young woman came to escort her to the main hall. Sister Gabriella squeezed her hand, and Mother Agnes gave her a solemn nod. Then Sister Maria was following the young woman down a long hallway toward the stage. The main hall was larger than she had expected, with rows of red velvet seats stretching back from the stage. Most of the seats were filled with people, family members of the other competitors, music lovers, and a row of serious-looking judges at a table near the front. At the center of the stage stood a magnificent grand piano, its lid raised like a great black wing. Sister Maria waited in the wings, watching as an elderly man finished playing a complex piece on the violin. The audience applauded warmly as he bowed and made his way carefully off the stage. "Next we have Sister Maria Teresa from St. Catherine's Convent, performing Schubert's Impromptu in G-flat major," announced a voice over the speaker system. Sister Maria crossed herself quickly and walked onto the stage. The bright lights momentarily blinded her, and the sight of so many people watching made her heart race. She could make out Sister Gabriella and Mother Agnes in the third row, both sitting very straight, their faces showing a mix of anxiety and pride. She sat down at the piano, adjusted the bench, and took a deep breath. The hall was completely silent now, everyone waiting for her to begin. Sister Maria closed her eyes for a moment, gathering herself. Then she placed her hands on the keys and began to play. The first notes were tentative, almost hesitant, like someone testing unfamiliar waters. But as the music continued, something remarkable happened. Sister Maria felt herself disappearing into the music, becoming simply a vessel for something greater than herself. Her arthritic hands, which had seemed so stiff and uncooperative that morning, now moved across the keyboard with surprising grace. She played the gentle opening theme with a tender touch, letting the melody sing out above the flowing accompaniment. As the piece moved into more complex territory, with rippling arpeggios and delicate ornaments, she found her fingers remembering patterns they had known for decades. Yes, there were small mistakes. A missed note here, a slightly fumbled passage there, but they didn't seem to matter. What came through was something more important than technical perfection. It was the sound of a life lived deeply, of joy and sorrow, of faith tested and renewed. As she reached the heart of the piece, Sister Maria felt tears streaming down her face. She didn't try to stop them. They were part of the music too, part of what she was sharing. She played the most emotional section with her eyes closed, swaying slightly with the rhythm, her whole being focused on drawing out the beauty hidden in Schubert's notes. The final section returned to the opening theme, but now transformed by everything that had come before. Sister Maria played it with a certainty and peace that flowed from some place deep inside her. The last notes hung in the air like a blessing before fading into silence. For a moment no one moved or made a sound. Sister Maria sat still at the piano, her hands resting on the keys, her heart pounding. Had she failed? Had they hated it? Then the applause began. It started slowly, almost tentatively, but quickly grew into something thunderous. People were standing up, clapping with genuine enthusiasm. Sister Maria blinked in surprise. She rose shakily from the bench and gave an awkward little bow, unsure of the proper protocol. As she turned to leave the stage, she caught sight of Mother Agnes's face. The stern woman was standing with the rest of the audience, her hands pressed together not in applause but in what looked like a prayer of gratitude. And she was smiling, a real smile that transformed her usually severe features. Backstage, Sister Maria was met by Sister Gabriella, who wrapped her in a tight hug. That was... I don't even have words, the younger nun said, her voice choked with emotion. Sister Maria felt lightheaded, almost floating. Did I play all right? All right? Sister Maria, you played like an angel. Everyone felt it. Even the judges were wiping away tears. Mother Agnes joined them, her usual composure now fully restored. We should find you some water, Sister Maria, and somewhere to sit down. You look pale. As they made their way to a small reception area, several other competitors stopped Sister Maria to compliment her playing. An elderly man with a cello case strapped to his back shook her hand vigorously. I've been playing for 60 years, he told her, and I've rarely heard such honest music. You made this old man cry, sister. A woman who had played the flute earlier pressed a handkerchief into Sister Maria's hand. Keep it, she said when Sister Maria tried to return it. I think you'll need it more than me today. Sister Maria didn't fully understand what was happening. She had played as well as she could, but she was aware of her technical limitations, the moments where her fingers hadn't quite done what she wanted them to do. Yet everyone was reacting as if she had given some extraordinary performance. I don't understand, she whispered to Sister Gabriella as they sat waiting for the results. I made mistakes. It wasn't about the mistakes, Sister Gabriella replied. It was about what came through despite them. Your heart, Sister Maria. Everyone heard your heart. A hush fell over the room as the head judge, a dignified woman with silver hair, stepped up to the microphone. She announced the third-place winner in the piano category, a retired music teacher from the next town over. Then the second-place winner, a former concert pianist who had suffered a stroke but found his way back to music. And the first place in the piano category, the judge said, goes to Sister Maria Teresa from St. Catherine's Convent. The room erupted in applause. Sister Maria sat frozen in her chair, unable to believe what she had just heard. Sister Gabriella had to gently push her to her feet and toward the stage. As she accepted the small trophy, a golden piano on a wooden base, Sister Maria felt as if she were dreaming. The judge leaned close to her. We would be honored if you would perform at our gala concert next month, she said. Your playing touched everyone in that hall today. Sister Maria looked out at the audience, at all the smiling faces, and felt something shift inside her. For 50 years she had played for herself and for God in the quiet of the convent. Now, for the first time, she had shared that private conversation with others, and they had heard it, had been moved by it. Perhaps this was what her gift had been for all along. The ride back to the convent was quiet, but it was a peaceful kind of quiet. Sister Maria held the small golden trophy in her lap, still trying to make sense of what had happened. The sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows across the countryside and filling the car with warm golden light. You need to rest when we get back, Sister Gabriella said, breaking the silence. It's been a long day. Sister Maria nodded, suddenly aware of how tired she was. The emotional journey of the past few weeks, from being forbidden to play to practicing in secret to performing on stage, had taken more out of her than she realized. Yet beneath the fatigue was a deep sense of contentment. Mother Agnes, who had been unusually silent, finally spoke. The judges were right to give you first place, she said, looking straight ahead. Your playing had something that the others didn't. Coming from Mother Agnes, this was extraordinary praise. Sister Maria felt a lump form in her throat. Thank you, Mother. And regarding the gala concert next month, Mother Agnes continued, her voice returning to its usual businesslike tone. "I believe we can make arrangements for you to attend." Sister Maria exchanged a surprised glance with Sister Gabriella. She hadn't expected Mother Agnes to allow her to perform again, especially not so soon. "That's very generous, Mother," she said carefully. "It's not generosity," Mother Agnes replied. "It's recognition of where God seems to be leading you. I may have been mistaken in my earlier judgment." These words, spoken so plainly, were perhaps the most surprising thing about the entire day. Mother Agnes was not known for admitting mistakes or changing her mind once it was made up. Sister Maria reached across the seat and gently touched Mother Agnes's hand. "Thank you," she said simply. Mother Agnes nodded once, her eyes still fixed on the road ahead. When they arrived back at St. Catherine's, they found the convent abuzz with excitement. Word of Sister Maria's victory had somehow reached them before she did. Sister Gabriella had managed to make a quick phone call during the award ceremony, and the entire community was waiting to celebrate. The dining hall had been transformed with paper streamers and hand-drawn congratulation signs. Someone had baked a cake, and the oldest nun, Sister Beatrice, who rarely left her room these days, was seated at the head table waiting to toast Sister Maria's success. "Speech," called several voices as Sister Maria entered the room, holding her trophy. Sister Maria, who had never sought the spotlight, felt her face grow warm with embarrassment, but the genuine joy on the faces of her sisters gave her courage. She placed the trophy on the table and looked around at the community that had been her family for 50 years. "I don't know what to say," she began shakily, "except that today reminded me that God works in mysterious ways. 6 months ago, when I couldn't play the piano anymore, I thought that chapter of my life was over. I was angry and sad. But now I see that sometimes God closes one door to open another." She glanced at Mother Agnes, who stood at the back of the room, her arms folded but a slight smile on her face. "Today, for the first time, I shared my music with strangers, and somehow they heard in my playing what I've always felt, that music can be a form of prayer, a way of expressing what words cannot say." Sister Maria's voice grew stronger as she continued. "I want to thank all of you for your support, especially Sister Gabriella, who believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself, and Mother Agnes, who had the wisdom and courage to change her mind." There was a smattering of surprised laughter at this last part, and even Mother Agnes smiled more broadly. The celebration continued well past the convent's usual bedtime, with sisters sharing stories of their own hidden talents and dreams. As Sister Maria finally made her way to bed that night, exhausted but happy, she had no idea that her story was just beginning to spread beyond the convent walls. The next morning, Sister Gabriella burst into Sister Maria's room just as she was finishing her morning prayers. "You need to see this," she exclaimed, holding up a newspaper. "You're on the front page of the local section." Sure enough, there was a photo of Sister Maria at the piano, her eyes closed, her face transformed by the music she was playing. The headline read, "73-year-old nun stuns audience at senior music competition." The article described her performance in glowing terms, quoting several audience members who said they had been moved to tears. It mentioned that she had been playing piano since childhood, but had recently been unable to practice regularly due to convent restrictions. The reporter had somehow learned this detail, though Sister Maria had never mentioned it to anyone outside the convent. "Oh dear," she said, reading the article with growing dismay. "This makes it sound like I was oppressed or something." "Well," Sister Gabriella began, then stopped at Sister Maria's look of reproach. Mother Agnes was doing what she thought was right, Sister Maria said firmly. "I don't want anyone thinking badly of her or the convent." But it was too late. By that afternoon, the story had been picked up by a national news website. By the next day, a video someone had recorded on their phone during her performance was circulating on social media, with hundreds of thousands of views. People were calling her the piano nun and sharing how moved they were by her playing. The convent's phone began ringing constantly. Reporters wanted interviews. Music lovers wanted to know if Sister Maria would be performing again. A record company even called, interested in having her record an album of classical pieces. Mother Agnes, to her credit, handled the sudden attention with remarkable composure. She politely but firmly turned away reporters who showed up at the convent gates. She screened phone calls and only passed on the ones she deemed appropriate, and she made sure Sister Maria was protected from the worst of the frenzy. "This will pass," she assured Sister Maria a week after the competition, as they sat together in the garden. "People are always looking for heartwarming stories. Next week it will be a dog who saved its owner from a fire or a child prodigy violinist." But Mother Agnes was wrong. The interest in Sister Maria did not fade. If anything, it grew stronger after her performance at the gala concert the following month. This time, professional cameras captured her playing, and the video was shared by major news outlets. Letters poured in from around the world, from music lovers, from Catholics inspired by her story, from elderly people who said she had given them the courage to pursue long-abandoned dreams. One letter in particular caught Sister Maria's attention. It was from the director of a music program for underprivileged children in the city. "Our students were deeply inspired by your performance," the letter read. "Many come from difficult backgrounds and have never seen someone who looks like them on a concert stage. Would you consider visiting our school and perhaps playing for them? It would mean the world to these children to meet someone who found music later in life and still achieved such beauty." Sister Maria took this letter to Mother Agnes, who read it thoughtfully. "You want to go?" she said. It wasn't a question. "I think I could do some good," Sister Maria replied. "These children, perhaps music could be for them what it has been for me." Mother Agnes was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "I've been thinking about our music room. It's been closed for too long. Perhaps it's time to reopen it, not just for you but for others in the community. We could offer lessons to children who can't afford them elsewhere." Sister Maria could hardly believe what she was hearing. "Mother, that would be wonderful. It would require changes to our routine," Mother Agnes warned, "and it would bring outsiders into the convent on a regular basis." "Yes," Sister Maria agreed. "But isn't that part of our mission too, to share what we have with others?" And so, 6 months after being forbidden to play the piano, Sister Maria found herself not only playing regularly but teaching as well. The convent's music room was renovated and expanded, with donations that poured in after Sister Maria's story became known. The old piano was replaced with a beautiful used grand piano donated by a retired music teacher who had been touched by Sister Maria's performance. Twice a week, children from the city came to St. Catherine's for free music lessons. Sister Maria taught piano, of course, but other nuns discovered long-dormant talents as well. Sister Lucia had played the flute in her youth and began teaching beginners. Sister Gabriella, who had a lovely voice, started a children's choir. Mother Agnes oversaw it all with her usual efficiency, making sure the new program didn't interfere with the convent's primary spiritual mission. But even she seemed to soften, as the sound of children's laughter and music filled the once quiet hallways. A year after the competition that had changed everything, Sister Maria sat in the convent chapel, listening to the children's choir practice for an upcoming concert. Her hands, which had been almost too painful to use at times, were stronger now from daily playing. The arthritis was still there, but somehow it bothered her less. At 74, she had found a new purpose that combined her two greatest loves, her faith and her music. She had also recorded an album of classical pieces, with all proceeds going to music education for disadvantaged youth. Music magazines had featured her story, and a documentary filmmaker was currently working on a project about her journey from silenced nun to reluctant celebrity. Sister Maria found all the attention embarrassing, but endured it because it brought attention to causes she cared about. As she sat listening to the children sing, she felt someone sit down beside her. It was Mother Agnes, looking more relaxed than Sister Maria had ever seen her. "You've started something remarkable," Mother Agnes said quietly, nodding toward the choir. "We both did," Sister Maria corrected gently. "It took both of us. My playing and your willingness to change." Mother Agnes considered this, then nodded. "Perhaps that's the lesson in all this, that God's gifts find their way to expression, even when we try to silence them. Our job is simply not to stand in their way." Sister Maria smiled. Those were almost exactly the words she had used in a recent interview when asked what message she hoped people would take from her story. Somehow, without hearing that interview, Mother Agnes had arrived at the same truth. Outside the chapel windows, spring flowers were blooming in the convent garden. Inside, children's voices rose in song, and Sister Maria Teresa, the piano nun who had stunned the world, closed her eyes and gave thanks for the unexpected journey that had led her here, to this moment of perfect harmony.